Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the 50/50 Showcase. This is episode 38, Banisher. Who's that? That's my third Sentinel out of five, 38th character from the City of Heroes Homecoming servers, Excelsior Shard, 50/50 Showcase. I'm showing you a whole bunch of builds, a whole bunch of characters, a whole bunch of heroes and villains and vigilantes and rogues, different power sets, different archetypes, different combinations, strategies, all that fun stuff. So if you are a City of Heroes player looking for something new, perhaps, maybe you're new to the game, looking for something to start with, maybe you've read about some builds, heard about some builds, and actually want to see it in action. Well, then this series is for you. This is my Sonic Blast, Dark Armor, Psionic Mastery Sentinel Banisher. He's kind of got that Ghost Ridery, taking out taking out the damned trash type of vibe. Let's take a look at his build, shall we? The mids. The mids. There it is. All right, so here's his mids build. Scoot it up a tad for you. Come on. Scoot it up a tad. There we go. All right, so mids. First things first, I've got everything in Sonic Attack. Everything in his screaming, howling, otherworldly, banshee, wailing powers. And then I've got just about everything in Dark Armor as well, with the exception of the self-res. That's why you have Wakens, right? I mean, I don't know. I sometimes I don't understand these self-reses. If you're building a decent build, you really shouldn't be dying enough to justify. Think about this. You're justifying taking a power to resurrect yourself, and it's your tier 9. It's supposed to be your ultimate power in this set. Is your ultimate power a self-res that you use once every what, maybe game night session you're playing? I mean, come on. Think of all the other powers you have that you're using non-stop the entire game every minute. And you're going to put your tier 9 as a self-res? No, no thanks. Anyway, I didn't take it. And then I went ahead and took everything in Psi Mastery. I'm a pretty big fan of Psi Mastery overall in a lot of different builds, and this is no exception. The big thing I'm going for here with this guy is this Sentinel's secondary Dark Armor and Dark Armor in general is fairly control heavy. So I'm going ahead and taking advantage of that. This is one of the, secondary sets in Sentinels that I do think has some good debuffs, some good control built into it, unlike many of the other ones that I've already mentioned in the previous two videos. So anyway, Dark Armor, if you don't know much about it, it's got a lot of little, debuffy type of things, right? It's got a cloak of darkness, which gives you some stealthiness. Gives you this cloak of fear where you're able to apply a fear and minus to hit. You got oppressive gloom, which is a faux disorient power. So I think just kind of those three things, you're able to sneak up, spook people, and stun them just by getting next to them. Also, you have this regeneration recovery power so that if you are in melee, you can click that and get some health, some uh, endurance back because you're going to need it. Because like many of the dark armor sets in the game, the Sentinel one is no different. It is a pretty heavy endurance, draining, costing power. So if you take a look at my ratio, it's 3 to 1.3, which isn't bad, right? I mean, this is pretty solid. It's more than 2 to 1, which is my bare minimum. But that's not factoring in my other powers. So if I go ahead and have Spirit Ward running, for instance, now I'm at 1.6. So now I'm not at the 2 to 1. So it's just a simple activation of a power like that, something to buff an ally. And poof, I'm down below the 2 to 1. And then I start blasted away, and it's going to cost lots and lots of endurance just to keep myself going. So that obscure sustenance is going to be an important power there that I'm gonna activate as often as I can, just because it has the regeneration and recovery, and I've thrown the theft of essence plus endurance in there. So it is on a recharge of 42 seconds with a duration of 60 seconds. So that's perma. And when I click it, if you take a look at my recovery numbers, they jump up to 5. So if I hit, right, I go from 3 per second up to 5. So that is really nice, right? I want to be able to hit a target. I can get the chance for some endurance, and that's going to be awesome. I also have chance for endurance and healing sitting over here in Tenebrous Regeneration, which is just your auto always on regeneration power. So I have another way of getting some endurance here. And then of course there's stamina. And then don't forget that, ooh, can't see stamina. I think I've got it too low. Let me scoot it up again. Mids, there we go. If I scoot this up, I've also got the Numinas in health right there, the plus regen, plus recovery. So I've got ways of getting my endurance back with these various powers. But as I was saying, before I digressed into the dark armor selection, the idea behind this guy is he's a spooky, scary, controlling, debuffy kind of a Sentinel build. So I'm going to try to leverage as much of that softer control as I can, and then mix in some harder control. And I'm actually going to be going for a bit of stunning with this guy. So let's take a look at the overall concept, the overall build then. So I've got Dark Armor, which gives me the ability to stun with Oppressive Gloom and Fear with Cloak of Fear. Those two powers are toggles that I'm on, all the time, and I get into melee and they do their thing. Combining with that, though, I'm using Sonic Attack, which has a bunch of minus resistance, and Shriek and Scream and Howl, Shout. Shockwave has a little bit of knockback in it. Siren Song has some sleep, so there's some more light control, right? Soft control, knockback, sleep. Screech. Screech is a low damage. Actually, no, it's a high damage power in Sentinels, but it does disorient. That's what I want it for. So I have a single target stun right here with Screech, and I have a big old PB AoE stun in Dreadful Wail. I think you know where this is going, right, guys? So I've got Oppressive Gloom, which I have on all the time, stunning. I then can single target stun with Screech. I can PB AoE stun a whole bunch of guys with Dreadful Wail. I also have some sleep, so I can open with this to sleep some guys. I can open with Shockwave to knock some people down. I then fly into PBAOE range. You get into that PBAOE, that melee range. You're going to be stunning with your Oppressive Gloom. You can Shriek and Dreadful Wail to take out everybody, as well as a hard target. And of course, that's not the end of it. If you take a look at, hey, with the Side Mastery set, is going to give you the option for yet another stun in the form of Psy Shockwave that also has a disorient PB AoE. So check that out. You open up with, let's say, Shockwave or Siren Song to knock back a bunch of guys or sleep a bunch of guys. You can then swoop in there. Oppressive Gloom is running. That starts ticking and stunning. It's a low mag, so it's not going to take out bosses. It's only mag 2. But then you hit Dreadful Wail, which has a mag 3 stun, so now I'm up to 5. And then I've got Psy Shockwave, which has its another mag 2 stun. Now I'm at to mag 7 stun to everybody within range of those two PB AoEs and the aura. And then over the top, I can single target mag 3 Screech of Boss. So what's that, mag 10 right now on a boss target? And I haven't even mentioned. Do I have? Oh, yeah. I'll mention it now. I did take in the Incarnates Control Core Embodiment, which applies a +1 mag to each of those attacks. So I could hypothetically get another +4 if that were to proc a bunch of times. Although I think it's only on the damaging attacks. So Screech, Dreadful Wail, and Shockwave. So anyway, like another 3 mag. So I could hypothetically layer like 13 mag stun with this guy. I mean, is that beautiful or what? So yeah, this is this guy's thing. He's this spooky spirit guy from the beyond coming to whatever reap the souls of evildoers, and he is just so scary that he stuns you, he panics you, he puts you comatose, knocks you down. He's a very high stunning build. I've even thrown in the absolute amazement chance for debuff in Oppressive Gloom because I'm going to use that to give me some minus to hit. I think it's what a 7.5% uh, debuff of to hit. Combine that with Cloak of Fear has, let's see, -5. So there's a potential 12.5% debuff. Not only do I have the sleep from Siren Song, check it out. I took Mass Hypnosis's sleep as well, so I have two different sleeps. This is a big old targeted AoE, and then Siren Song is a cone sleep. Then you could throw in Dominate. I got a single target hold here from Psy Mastery as well. So that's going to give me yet another option. So I've got a single target hold, I got single target stuns, I got PB AoE stuns, I got aura stuns, I've got aura fear, I've got aura debuff. Okay, this guy is going to put people down for the count just with a bunch of these controls. And then everything is going to be +1 mag when my hybrid control is clicked and activated. So that's his plan. Okay, is to just be really kind of like a dominator almost, with more survivability, less options for control, but pretty solid controls, good range damage, good PBOE damage, and high survivability. His Achilles heel is the endurance issue, so that's where he's gonna have to, especially if he's running all his toggles like Spirit Warriors, have to just be a little bit careful. Also, the Oppressive Gloom toggle self damages. So if you die right in the middle of a big old group of like 12 guys, you're gonna start bleeding out pretty fast. But Obscure Sustenance can help with that because that's got the regen, right? You got Tenebrous regeneration as well. So it's not too bad. It's not like in certain ATs that like I think a Defender you get Oppressive Gloom. That's more devastating for let's say some Dark Miasma or whatever. I think it's actually in the Dark Mastery set. But anyway, you get the idea. Somebody who doesn't have high regeneration or these sort of self-healing powers is going to have a harder time dealing with the Oppressive Gloom. All right, other than that, it's blasting, right? And all the minus resistance I'm laying out there. Oh, which actually, I'm also taking Reactive Core as my interface incarnate. That also has minus resistance. So if you take a look, I've got all this minus resistance from my blast, like Shriek, Scream, Howl has minus resistance. Shout has minus resistance. Shockwave has minus resistance. Screech does. Dreadful Wail does. What is the numbers on Dreadful Wail? Dreadful Wail minus resistance is 5%, some change. Screech is 5. This one, does it show minus resistance on this one? I don't see it anywhere. Anyway, you're looking at a lot of stackable -5%. So if I start hitting you 3, 4, 5 times in a row, you've just lost, 20, 25% of your resistance to damage. And then the reactive core is going to be proccing minus resistance as well. I forget what is it, 2.5%. I think it stacks up to 5 times. So that's like another, 12.5%. So, easily I can put down 30-40% resistance debuff with this guy on top of all the just the stunning and the other controls and stuff. So he's pretty solid of an attacker. A pretty nice damaging controlling sentinel. That's what his game is. That's what his deal is. Other than that, I think let's see, set wise, it's a bit of a pricey build if you kind of look at it, right? I've got several rare sets, which aren't too bad, but things like the Panacea unique here, that's going to cost you. The Preventative Medicine, that's going to cost you. Theft of Essence is kind of pricey. I've got the Shield Wall unique, that's pretty pricey. I've got the Opportunity Strikes ATO and Siren Song. That's pretty pricey. I've got the other ATO Sentinels Ward and Howl. That's going to be expensive. I got some of the purple, very rare Absolute Amazements in Screech and Oppressive Gloom. Those can be pricey. They're, cheaper than the regular sort of purples like the damage ones, but they're still pretty pricey. So yeah, this guy's going to cost you a few 100 million to put him together. Again, not the most expensive build I have because most of the other stuff you see here, like Glimpse of the Abyss, Call of the Sandman, Stupefy, these are not that pricey. Obliteration, that's not too bad. Titanium coating, that's not too bad. So, it's kind of like got some high end stuff and you got some, lower, cheaper things. But overall, I don't know, maybe 300 million, 400 million if you had to buy all those purples and stuff. I don't think you're pushing half a billion with this guy. He doesn't have that much purple. All right. I think that covers the main stuff I wanted to say about Banisher. So that's what you're looking for. Just a lot of stunning, a lot of soft control, probably hard control if you think about stunning. Watch out for the endurance issues, perhaps the bleeding out with the oppressive gloom. But he should be able to just start shredding damage resistance, which is going to boost his overall damage. And bodies should drop fairly quickly with the amount of just AoE-age that he can throw out in the form of these cones mostly, and the two big PB AoEs. All right, that's the end of the build video. We're going to go on and run a couple solo missions so you can see in action some of these strategies, these techniques that I was alluding to. Catch you on the next vid.